There is a cold, silent tremor that runs through your life when you finally understand the cavalry is not coming. You check your messages. You assess your relationships. You stare into the abyss of your own ambitions and hear only an echo. No one is riding to the rescue. No one is going to fund the dream. No one will be there to pull you from the floor when you collapse. For the majority, this epiphany is the end. It is the moment the light dies, replaced by a victim's plea. Why must I bear this alone? But for you, the one still listening through the silence, this is not an ending. It is the ignition sequence. You are haunted by a vision your peers dismiss. You are exhausted from shrinking your truth to fit their comfort. You are done waiting for a chorus of approval before you dare to sing. This ends now. The cultural mantra that you need a team, a mentor, a support system to ascend is the most seductive lie ever told. The giants of history, the strategists, the sovereigns, they grasped a darker, more potent truth. True sovereignty is not forged in a committee. It is crystallized in absolute solitude. I will show you how to weaponize your isolation. I will reveal why having zero allies is not a handicap, but a lethal, unshackled advantage. But first, we must operate on your psyche. We must carve out the needy, approval-seeking child within. If the idea of stepping into the void without a hand to hold terrifies you, leave now. Return to the herd. Their collective doubt will feel like warmth. But if you are ready to become the reason the herd feels a primal chill, then listen. Let us begin by burning the fairy tale. From your first breath, you were engineered for dependence. The education system praised group work. Spiritual institutions exalted the congregation. The professional world worships networking. You have been marinated in a single toxic belief. To climb, you must be carried. It is not what you know, it is who you know. We repeat this like a prayer. And it is a curse. When you hinge your fate on who, you confess your own impotence. You surrender your reins to individuals whose loyalty expires at the border of their own self-interest. The ancient strategist Sun Tzu did not counsel relying on allied armies, for they are fickle. He commanded mastery of your own terrain, your own forces. Seeking support is seeking a chain. Think carefully. Every helping hand creates an obligation. Every investment purchases a slice of your autonomy. Every emotional prop gives another the power to collapse your stage. You believe you are searching for a net, but a net, by its very design, is also a cage. It cradles, but it also confines. Your stagnation has nothing to do with a lack of cheerleaders. It is because you are still glancing sideways hoping for one. You are pouring priceless focus into scanning for a savior. You are watering down your grand vision to make it digestible for mediocre palates. You are pausing mid-sentence, waiting for a nod that will never come. You must first embrace the barren ground, the 0 point. This is the stark moment you survey your assets, your finances, your connections, your tools, and see only yourself, staring back. The common soul collapses here. You will not. You will recognize this as the ultimate liberation. With zero support, you have zero obligations. If no one lifted you, no one can claim credit. If you construct the empire alone, you occupy the throne, 100% yours. This is the unsentimental calculus of the sovereign. We do not mourn the empty hall. We appreciate the clean space to build. You have likely heard the phrase, "It is better to be feared than loved." Let us transmute this for your journey. When you crave support, you are begging to be loved. You desire approval for your idea. You long for familial pride. You thirst for celebratory toasts from friends. You operate from a place of lack, and lack repels power. Have you not witnessed it? The more desperately you seek aid, the faster it retreats. The more you unveil your majestic blueprint to minds shackled by convention, the more they scoff. They scent your need, and need smells of vulnerability. To conquer from zero, you must cease the pursuit of affection and demand respect through undeniable skill. This requires swapping the fuel in your engine. You are no longer powered by encouragement. You are now propelled by a cold, defiant resolve. Look at the doubters, the silent phones, the turned backs. Do not feel sorrow. Let it crystallize into a sharp, focused drive. Their disbelief is good. That means the arena is uncontested. Their refusal to help is perfect. That means the victory, when it comes, carries no debt. You must evolve to a state where their indifference no longer wounds. It instructs. It sharpens your edge. Picture a captain on a sinking ship. He turns to see the lifeboats gone, his crew vanished. He stands alone on the tilting deck. Does he weep for their loyalty? No, he rise the remaining resources. He studies the currents. He understands that a single determined swimmer moving beneath the surface is harder to target than a flotilla of panicking rowboats. He becomes unpredictable, fluid, lethal. You are that captain. Your lack of support compels you to be more agile, more inventive. A conglomerate with 10,000 employees is a dinosaur, slow to turn. You are a dagger. You can pivot your entire destiny in an afternoon because you hold no committee meetings. Your board of directors is your own reflection in a silent room. Stop interpreting your solitude as a sentence. See it as a purification. It is purging the weak who would have been anchors. It is eliminating the fair-weather allies who would have become parasites at the first sign of treasure. You are alone because you are being shielded ruthlessly from the gravitational pull of other people's average expectations. So, how do you implement this? How do you rise day after day to a void of encouragement and still produce monstrous results? You initiate the era of silence. This is a principle drawn from the annals of strategic warfare and depth psychology. If you have no audience, you have no need for announcements. Become a spectre. Most endeavors die from premature exposition. Someone has a spark of an idea and instantly runs to share it. A friend mutters that it sounds risky, or a parent asks if you have a backup plan. The seed of doubt is planted. The energy dissipates. You received a cheap dopamine hit from speaking the dream, and your brain is tricked into a sense of partial accomplishment. The drive to do the work evaporates. The spectre does not speak. You must take a sacred vow of silence concerning your true aims. Do not whisper it to your spouse. Do not hint at it to your colleagues. Do not post cryptic teases online. Silence generates a thermodynamic pressure. When you cage a seismic ambition inside your ribs and allow it no escape valve in conversation, it builds. It converts into a physical vibration. It becomes productive anxiety. It becomes relentless tension. Good. You require that pressure. That is the very force that will propel you to the keyboard at 3 a.m. while the supported masses are drugged by sleep. That pressure is the piston that will drive you through the wall of resistance. In isolation, you possess the luxury of total focus. There are no obligatory gatherings to attend, no tedious events to smile through. You can shed the social performance, let the persona fall away, and allow the raw, untamed builder to emerge. Use your seclusion to obsess. The world diagnoses obsession as a sickness. For you, it is the only cure. With zero external support, your obsession must become your skeleton. You must know your craft with a depth that borders on frightening. You must achieve a level of technical mastery so complete it becomes an immutable fact. The legendary comedian Steve Martin advised to be so good they can't ignore you. He did not say to be so well connected they have to hire you. When you become undeniable, support transforms from a prerequisite to a trivial footnote. And here is the great irony. This is the precise moment it will begin to arrive. People flock to endorse a victor. They flee from a pleader. As long as you are supplicating for help, you wear the uniform of a struggler. But when you emerge from the shadows, quietly holding tangible results, suddenly everyone remembers your name. They will claim they always believed in you. You will smile a thin, knowing smile, and you will remember, with crystal clarity, the exact roster of believers when the stadium was empty. 1. To endure this path, you must perform a ceremony of grief. This is the step the hype men omit. They scream hustle but ignore the heart's hemorrhage. You must mourn the life you were promised. You imagined a grandstand of supporters. You assumed your family would comprehend. You hoped your friends would evolve alongside you. They will not. You must hold a funeral in your mind for the version of you that needed those cheers. This is acutely painful. It is a hollow ache behind the sternum. It feels like abandonment. You will lie awake, the silence pounding in your ears, questioning your sanity. You will wonder if perhaps the doubters are the rational ones. This is the crucible. Every sovereign walks through this valley of shadows. It is the liminal space where you have abandoned the tribe but have not yet reached the promised land. You are in the wilderness. Here you will see mirages. You will conjure phantoms of doubt. You will crave the familiar prison you escaped. But you cannot return. The veil has been lifted. You have seen that most support is merely a mutual pact of mediocrity, a sedative for the ambitious spirit. This knowledge is irreversible. Therefore, the old identity must die so the new one can breathe. You must terminate the dependent child so the self-authored adult can stand. This demands you become your own creator. Psychology terms this reparenting. Let us use a stronger term, self-architecture. You must wake, face the mirror, and become the disciplinarian you lacked. You must examine your finances and become the provider you never had. You must confront your spiraling thoughts and become the unshakable counsel you always needed. You conduct literal, out-loud dialogue with yourself. Get up. The work will not do itself. Stop indulging the self-pity. No one is coming to save you. Eyes forward. Execute. This is the only exit. You cultivate a strategic duality. Within you exists the tired, emotional, fragile self, and within you also exists the general. The general commands the fragile self through the trenches. In time, the fragile self perishes from discipline, and only the general remains. This is the essence of strategic flexibility, the capacity to be ruthlessly demanding of your present self, to gift your future self a kingdom. You deny yourself the pillow today, so you can own the castle tomorrow. With zero support, you have no enablers for your weakness. If you succumb to laziness, the consequences are immediate and visceral. There is no financial cushion, no emotional coddling. The feedback is stark and swift. This is a brutal blessing. Comfort is the arch-nemesis of transcendence. External support often functions as a buffer, insulating you from the jarring impact of your own procrastination. In solitude, you collide directly with the granite wall of reality. You learn. You adapt. You do not just become resilient, you become anti-fragile, gaining strength from the impact itself. Now, examine the narrative you recite. The ordinary soul chants a victim's ballad. I failed because I had no investor. I didn't transform because I lacked a trainer. You will author a different story, a strategist's origin tale. I do not mean you become malicious. I mean you learn to alchemize every slight into kinetic fuel. Consider Michael Jordan, who famously manufactured personal insults from opponents, weaving fictional disrespect into a narrative so potent it unleashed his legendary ferocity on the court. You must adopt this tactic. Collect every rejection, every ignored message, every condescending smirk, every silent dinner when you spoke of your dreams. Catalog them. Feed them into your internal furnace. Their lack of faith is excellent. Their dismissal is perfect. Their exclusion is ideal. Let it burn. Controlled anger is a more efficient propellant than sorrow. Sadness is a weight, pressing you into the mattress. Anger is a current, electrifying your muscles into motion. The ancient strategists understood mankind is governed by base, immediate needs, security, social acceptance, ease. You are different. You are governed by a deferred, greater need, legacy, autonomy, power. You are speaking a dialect they cannot comprehend. Stop attempting the translation. Simply build your spire so tall they must eventually tilt their heads to see its peak. Victory, when forged in total solitude, possesses a unique purity. Its sweetness is uncontaminated. There are no names to list in gratitude, no equity to parcel out. There is a profound, silent satisfaction in knowing you walked through the furnace and emerged not as ash, but as steel, while the world stood watching, some hoping for your combustion. But to claim this, you must master strategic isolation. Most people are isolated by circumstance, and they wilt. You must choose it as a deliberate tactic. Sever the draining cords. If you linger among energy vampires merely to avoid the echo of an empty room, you are paying a psychic tax for membership in a club that degrades you. Stop paying. Sit in the quiet. Let the silence become deafening. At first your mind will shriek. You're a fool. You are utterly alone. Let the screams come. Observe them. Dissect them. Trace their origins: a dismissive teacher, a cynical relative, the canned laughter of a sitcom. These are not your thoughts. They are implants. When the screaming finally exhausts itself, and it will, a new sound will emerge, a low, steady frequency. That is the sound of your own operational mind, booting up for the first time. That is your instinct. That is your command center. You cannot detect this signal amidst the static of networking events and collaborative noise. True sovereignty is conceived in the void. Consider the brutal logic, stripped of sentiment. Alliances fail, companies implode, partnerships shatter. The statistical odds decay with every additional human variable you introduce to your mission. People are unpredictable. They fall ill, lose motivation, succumb to envy, pivot their passions. Any plan contingent on the consistent performance of another is a plan built on fault lines. The old masters warned of relying on auxiliary troops, forces borrowed from another lord. Their logic was merciless. If they fail, you are defeated. If they succeed, you are indebted. If you climb using another's capital, platform, or influence, you are a tenant in their house, subject to their rules. You must dilute your vision. You must bite your tongue. Succeeding with zero support is the sole path to full ownership of your soul. Is the path steeper? Without question. Might it take longer? Often. Is the destination worth the climb? Eternally. You are constructing a foundation of bedrock. The individual airlifted to the summit by helicopter stands atop the mountain, but possesses no strength in his leg. A stiff wind can topple him. The climber who scaled the cliff face with bleeding fingers, who battled the storm and the void, his legs are cables of iron. The wind does not move him. He has become the mountain. You must choose to be the climber. This is why you must not just accept the difficulty, but embrace its texture. When you confront an obstacle with no one to call, do not despair. Smile. This is the repetition that forges strength. This is where you learn the art of solution finding. A mentor who hands you an answer teaches you nothing but obedience. But the individual who spends 3 sleepless nights in the trenches of research, who extracts the answer from the raw ore of failure, that knowledge is seared into their neural pathways. It becomes a permanent asset. Zero support equals maximum education. You are forced to become your own marketer, your own product developer, your own financier, your own psychologist. You evolve into a polymath, a self-contained engine of competence. The specialist is a replaceable cog. The sovereign, who built the entire machine from scrap metal, is the blueprint. So, look at your barren ledger of allies and say it. Thank you. Thank you for the gift of total responsibility. Now we descend into the deeper mechanics. There is a psychological principle called sublimation. It is the alchemical process of taking raw, untamed emotion, often the unacceptable kind, and channeling it into a creative or productive outlet. You are alone. You likely harbor reservoirs of anger, fear, or profound sadness. The average person anesthetizes these feelings. They binge, they scroll, they numb. You will perform the opposite. You will dive into the feeling. You will let it burn, and then you will funnel its very heat into the work. Pain is potential energy. It is high-grade fuel. Recall the superhuman output you've managed during periods of heartbreak or fury. The sovereign learns to tap this reservoir deliberately. You do not wait for a crisis. You use the chronic ambient ache of your solitude as a catalyst. I am unseen. Therefore, I will work until I am unavoidable. I was dismissed. Therefore, I will write words that demand attention. My resources are scant. Therefore, I will sell with the precision of a surgeon. You build a Pavlovian loop where discomfort triggers production, not paralysis. This is the genesis of the human machine. While others are drowning in their feelings, you are using yours as a hydroelectric dam. The ancient Florentine Machiavelli called this virtù, not moral virtue, but fierce capability, the force of will to shape fortune itself. He famously said fortune is a woman, and she is won by the bold, by those who seize rather than ask. When you are supported, you grow complacent. The safety net robs you of essential tension. You must feel the authentic chill of the abyss. You must know in your marrow that if you cease swimming, you will sink. This primal survival trigger activates dormant cognitive heirs. We are wired at our core for survival. Strip away the false safety of the crowd, and your ancient brain snaps to attention. Your perception sharpens. Your ingenuity flares. You spot fissures of opportunity invisible to the comfortable. Welcome the peril. Welcome the loneliness. It is not breaking you, it is awakening you. We have reshaped the mindset. Now we install the engine. When you run on collective energy, your fuel is light, inspiration, shared joy, collaborative buzz. In solitude, you must learn to run on dark energy. The psychologist Carl Jung termed this the shadow. Machiavelli spoke of the need to be both fox and lion. Most are taught to suppress their shadow, their ambition, their pride, their competitive fire. They try to be only good, and in doing so, become benign. You cannot build a kingdom from nothing if you are benign. To carve your name into the stone of the world, you need integrated aggression. You need the capacity to study a rival and feel a clean, cold drive to outperform them utterly. You need the pride to reject the allotted portion and demand the whole feast. Integrate your shadow. Stop apologizing for your hunger. Stop feeling shame for wanting wealth, influence, impact. Stop burying the desire to prove every skeptic catastrophically wrong. That darkness is not your enemy, it is your unlit fuel. Imagine a spacecraft. It does not reach orbit on goodwill. It reaches orbit by harnessing a controlled, violent explosion at its base. Your shad. How is that contained detonation? At midnight, when you are exhausted and inspiration has fled, inspiration will not save you. Inspiration is a fair-weather friend, but disciplined pride is steadfast. Righteous spite is relentless. Use them. Tell yourself, if I quit now, their narrative wins. Tell yourself, if I falter, I validate their smallness. It is a potent, if gritty, fuel. And right now, you are launching. You can refine your energy sources later, once you are in orbit. But to escape the gravitational pull of the ordinary, you require raw, explosive thrust. You have no manager, no team, no accountability buddy. This is the danger zone of total freedom. Left unstructured, the human mind defaults to entropy. It sleeps in, it consumes trivialities, it mistakes motion for progress. It treats liberty like a holiday. If you succumb to this, you will decay. To reign supreme with zero support, you must become a benevolent tyrant to your own life. You require a protocol, not a to-do list. A list is a suggestion. A protocol is law. First, the dawn tribunal. The instant consciousness returns. A negotiation begins. The weaker self pleads for more sleep, for comfort. You must win this opening argument every single morning. Losing to the snooze button is a surrender on day one, signaling to your entire being that you are not in command. Second, the depth blocks. You do not work all day. You execute periods of ruthless, unbroken concentration. You sever all connections. You seal the door. For 3, 4, 5 hours, you enter a state of flow. In that span, you will output more than a distracted team produces in a week. Why? 0 interruptions, 0 meetings. This is your asymmetric edge, velocity, focus, surgical precision. Third, intellectual rations, with no external support. Your mind is your primary sovereign territory. If you pollute it with gossip, outrage media, and trivial entertainment, you will produce polluted results. Starve the weakness. Consume philosophy, study strategy, devour histories of empire and biographies of pioneers. You must feed on the thoughts of giants to learn how to walk among them. Fourth, the night audit. When the day is done, you stand before the mirror. You conduct a ruthless performance review. Did I advance the mission today, or did I merely simulate activity? You have no superior to judge you. You must be the unwavering judge and the disciplined executor. If you failed, acknowledge it coldly. Correct it tomorrow. No excuses are entertained. This structure forms an iron frame around the chaos of creation. It replaces the external architecture of a job with an internal fortress of discipline. Let us dismantle the grand distraction for the solitary builder, networking. You are incessantly told to network. Attend mixers, exchange cards. Hear this clearly. Networking at He0 point is the sport of the desperate. When you possess nothing but potential, you enter a room of the established as a supplicant. You are begging for scraps of attention, for favors. The established possess a predator's sense for need. They disdain it. Do not attend networking events. Stay in your forge. Build tangible value. Craft an exceptional product. Cultivate a formidable skill. Grow an audience of the truly engaged. Become a magnet. Magnets do not chase iron filings, they draw them. The ancient advice was to make yourself indispensable. A ruler should rely only on what is within his own power, striving chiefly to avoid hatred. Make yourself indispensable to the market itself. If you are the most insightful voice in your niche, clients will materialize. If you are the most proficient at your craft, opportunities will seek you. Build the masterpiece. Stop chasing applause. Every minute spent with a plastic cup of wine in a noisy room is a minute stolen from the silent, sacred work of becoming undeniable. The ultimate network is not a stack of business cards, it is a portfolio of lethal work. The ultimate introduction is a reputation that precedes you. Succeed first. The network will then form around you. And when you finally choose to step into those rooms, you will not be handing out cards. They will be requesting yours. This final chapter will feel cinematic, yet it is the inevitable outcome. If you walk this path, the path of the spectre, the sovereign, the architect, a shift will occur. You will begin to accumulate tangible proofs. Metrics will climb. Assets will grow. Your physique will morph. A quiet, unshakable authority will emanate from you like a frequency. And then they will return. The friends who were perpetually busy, the relatives who questioned your life choices, the past partners who traded your unrealistic dreams for someone else's stability, they will reappear wearing smiles, and they will utter the phrase that will chill your blood. We always knew you could do it. I'm so proud of us. They will attempt a quiet invasion of your history, inserting themselves as background characters in your epic. This is your final examination. The ghost of your former self, the one that ached for their validation, will be tempted to open the gates. You will feel a pull to let them in, to finally receive the approval you once craved. Do not yield. You must handle this with strategic, graceful detachment. No need for drama or cruelty. Simply maintain a polite, immovable distance. Become a pane of bulletproof glass. They can see your success, but they cannot touch the essence of you. Understand their affection is now contingent. It is based on your utility, your reflected status. This is not evil, it is human nature. But you do not anchor your fortress to such shifting sand. You keep the inner circle brutally small. The gates admit only those who lifted stones alongside you. And since you lifted every stone alone, the fortress, everything in it, is yours alone. This is not loneliness, this is autonomy. There exists a profound peace within it, difficult to articulate. It is the peace of knowing your survival and your triumph are functions of your own will. You know with certainty that if everything vanished tomorrow, you could rebuild it. Because you are the foundational asset, not your contacts, not your luck, not your circumstances, you. So where does it end? It doesn't. Once you have conquered the summit of zero support, you have unlocked a new tier of existence. You are no longer the survivor scrapping in the dirt. You are the architect surveying the horizon. Now, with resources and hardened wisdom, you can construct the world you once only imagined. And here lies the beautiful paradox. Now that you have zero need for support, you gain the capacity to truly give it. You can become the mentor you never had. You can spot the isolated, struggling talent on the brink of surrender and offer the exact, weighted word that changes their trajectory. You do not do this for reward. You do it because you remember the taste of the void. But you do it strategically. You do not rescue everyone. You invest only in those who demonstrate the sacred spark, the willingness to build their own muscles. You become the patron, the guide, the silent guardian. There is a double victory in mastering a broken game. First by surviving it, then by rewriting its rules for another. But never, ever forget the cold. Never forget the silence. Preserve a shard of that darkness in your spirit. Let it be the ballast that keeps you steady when the world tries to crown you with hollow laurels. They applaud you now, but you know the truth. The only applause that ever mattered was the silent, steadfast clapping of your own hands in the empty room, building the future one disciplined day at a time.